I think we can all agree that training employees is not easy. It's not like learning a subject in school where you memorize some facts, pass a test, and then never think about it again. When you train employees, not only do they need to have an understanding of general concepts, but they also need to be able to do things when they return to their desks. And that's where it gets tricky. If you're teaching employees about the new CRM system, or teaching call center agents about a product or a service they'll be supporting, or teaching employees about new procedures, not only do they need to understand the what, the when, and the how, they also need to be able to do the actual procedures, the keystrokes, make the decisions, say the right things, apply the right fees, make the right exceptions, ask the right troubleshooting questions. All of those things are not easy to memorize during a training event because there's just too much information. What usually happens is that when employees leave training and handle a real task or speak to a real customer, everything they learned in training goes blank. At that point, they reach out to a supervisor or to a manager for help, and it's like the employee's getting trained all over again. And that's why we say, skip the emphasis on memorization. Accept the fact that when it comes to work procedures, employees will not be able to commit everything to memory during a single training event. Lean into that by using what we call zero memorization. We're not saying that your employees should be mindless drones and never learn anything. It's a well-accepted fact that most learning happens while on the job. So instead of pushing employees to memorize during a training event, which we all know never happens, make it easy for them to use the learning and performance support resources as they do their day-to-day work. If your goal is for them to eventually memorize everything, it will happen as they have experiences and use your resources. But until then, your employees will still be proficient because they can use your performance support resources and learning materials for every transaction. And if information is changing every month, then memorization really isn't a great idea. In that case, it makes more sense for employees to use your performance support resources and your learning materials each time, just in case there's something new. Zero memorization is just a different way to think about teaching employees. Instead of having a training event that is focused on memorization, you create a continuous learning environment that supports employees as they develop expertise. And these learning resources don't have to be interactive courses or highly produced videos. They can be as simple as a job aid or a guide, a short video, or a checklist, whatever's needed to help employees do their job well. So now that you know what zero memorization is and why we recommend it, let's talk about how you would implement it in your situation. Here are the 3 steps you would follow to run zero memorization with ScreenSteps. First, instead of having all of the procedural information in PowerPoint slides or a printed handout or a PDF or Word files stored in SharePoint somewhere, put your procedural information and learning materials in ScreenSteps as articles or checklists, procedures. ScreenSteps then becomes a one-stop shop where employees can go to get any answer. Second, use ScreenSteps throughout the learning experience. Before training, send out pre-training exercises to prepare employees and give them a foundational understanding. During training, have your learners actually pull up your procedures and learning materials in ScreenSteps and practice going through them, using your resources to handle realistic scenarios. And yes, it's an open book test. If you ask them what the procedure is for handling a returned product, they should find that article in ScreenSteps and reference it as they respond. Third, set the expectation that your employees will continue using ScreenSteps after training is over. If they ask you a question, send them a link to the ScreenSteps article that has the answer. If you make updates or changes to procedures or other learning materials, that will happen in ScreenSteps, and then you'd point your employees to those relevant articles. When you approach training in this way, you encourage your employees to always be learning. If you would like to create a continuous learning environment in your department using the zero memorization approach, the next step is to schedule time with a ScreenSteps specialist to learn how you can get started. Or if you like the idea of zero memorization, but you're not sure why you need ScreenSteps to do it, check out what makes ScreenSteps stand out from other knowledge-based software.